One of the biggest challenges that I've found, and still to this day, am not completely doing this as well as what I should be, is celebrating the wins along the way. There's all these little milestones that will come up. You'll get your first client, your first 10 clients, your first 20 clients, your first year in business, your first, whatever it happens to be. You might have a revenue target. I want to hit my first $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000, $50,000 a month, all of those sort of things. And I've been, to this day, I'm horrible at actually celebrating those wins. I just quite frankly don't do it because I'm so caught up in the process of actually building the business, and that's the enjoyment for me. The enjoyment isn't I've hit X amount of revenue for the month or whatever, and I do have those goals that I look at, but they're more of a long-term play for me. It's not so much about, okay, I want to celebrate the fact that I've hit, let's say, $10,000 a month, right? And when you're starting out, those sort of things are massive. And I think it's something I've been very poor at. But it's important to actually take the time, even if it's a couple of hours. You go out on a Friday night after you've had a big month and have a few drinks, have a good time, give yourself that reward. Or if you want to make a purchase, you want to buy yourself a new. I'm not talking about Lamborghinis and Rolexes and all that sort of shit. I mean, you've had your eye on this new set of golf clubs and you've just done your first $20,000 month, and you want to reward yourself and go and buy yourself a $2,000 set of golf clubs. I mean, if the cash flow's there and you can afford it, why not? But it doesn't even have to be that much. Like I said, just going out for a few drinks on a Friday night at the end of the month and celebrating that win. As I say, it's been something that I've been absolutely horrible at, and in speaking to a lot of business owners, there's a lot that are the same, and then you get the other ones that are so entrenched on, okay, I need to celebrate every win, that they are doing it and they actually feel within themselves like they're actually getting somewhere. I think that's a little bit of the trap, is if you don't do it, and you're not everybody's wired the same way, right? If you value that sort of recognition even within yourself, then I think it's important to do it. It actually makes you feel like you're achieving something. And it's not just like people talk about this all the time with different things. Like if you are starting to do a fitness regime and you say, okay, I want to lose 20 kilos, then once you lose your first 5 kilos, like you're not going to go out and have a binge night or anything like that necessarily, but once you lose the first 5 kilos, you celebrate with whatever it happens to be. Just reward yourself with something. It's different for every person, right? One of my rewards that I'm looking at, and again, I haven't done it yet. I potentially could right now, but I'm still too in the business to pull myself out for this period of time. And again, I'm not saying it's a good thing, it's probably a bad thing, but one of the things for myself is that I want to actually go and play golf once a fortnight. That's one of my goals. I want to be able to take, and not during the week, obviously, but I want to be able to take a Saturday or a Sunday morning once a fortnight and go and play golf for that time. It's not expensive. It's not something that is unrealistic. It's a very realistic goal to have, but I still haven't done it yet because I'm spending so much time in the business. And I kind of feel in some ways that that's a negative, and I do need to actually force myself to do it. I love playing golf. I would get a lot of enjoyment out of doing it, but I just get so caught up in the process. So I think it's that sort of thing, is find what that is for yourself and make yourself be better at it than what I am. Because it's important. It gives you that recharge. It gives you, like, for me at the moment, my recharge is, and it's not even so much a reward, it's just kind of what I'm using as my recharge, is selling and buying and selling trading cards and sports cards. It was something that I used to love doing as a kid, and it was more. I know that whole industry boomed a lot throughout the whole COVID thing last year, and so I kind of got back into it then and have been carrying it on for the last probably 18 months or so. And it's kind of my release. I mean, I've got an eBay account and I buy a bulk lot of cards and I'll chop it up and sell individually or in smaller lots. And it, can you make money doing it? Yes, you can, but it's not, it's not even necessarily that I'm expecting to make thousands of dollars a month doing it. It's just, that's my release. That's the enjoyment. So I had the conversation last night. 2 weeks ago, I sat down on the weekend and I could have used that 4, 5, 6 hours to go and play a round of golf, but I used that time to go and list 300 items on eBay, a bunch of which I've already sold and, what have you. But that was my release time. That was my downtime. And so I think it doesn't really matter what it is. Just find that thing for you, whatever that thing is that gives you that little release, that reward, the incentive to keep going. Okay, I've made it to this mark. I'm doing well. Yes, there's a long way to go, but a $10,000 a month is not something that every business achieves. There's a lot of businesses people that go out of business because they never hit that mark. And even $10,000 is just a figure I've pulled out of my ass. You may not need that much, or you may need 2 or 3 times that. It depends on the business. So that's something that I would suggest if you're starting out in business. Have a look at that. Set some shorter term goals, and it's probably the only time you'll ever hear me say this because my focus is so long term. My main goal is still at least 15 years away, but set some short-term goals and make sure that when you reach those goals, you don't feel bad. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel like you're slacking off. If your goal is, use mine for example, if your goal is that you want to go and play golf once a fortnight, if you get to a stage where you can afford to do that and it's not eating into your business and you're able to use that to, you're making $10,000 a month consistently. And again, I'm just pulling that figure out of my ass, but you're making enough money to survive, you're doing the things that you want to do, and you've got that ability to take some time out once a fortnight, once a week, once a month, whatever it is, and have that relaxation time or have that reward for yourself, then do it. It's important. You've got to, again, I've been horrible at this, absolutely horrible. And even now I'm sitting here saying it, I know I'm not going to do it this weekend. So, but again, we all have different things that we're wired to do. I'm not going to do that this weekend, but I know that I've got something else planned this weekend that I'm going to go and do with my little girls. So, it's whatever is actually driving you, whatever you can use to say, okay, that's a reward. Well done. You've hit a $5,000, $10,000. It doesn't even have to be a financial figure. They typically are, but a lot of the time it might be X number of clients or 6 months in business, a year in business, like I said earlier. So whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you, understand it, work out what it is, and then make sure that you've actually scheduling that in so that you've got time to recharge, you've got time to reward yourself and acknowledge, because business is fucking hard. And again, I had this conversation the other day. Running a business in general as a concept is very simple. It's actually very simple. Running a successful business is fucking difficult. And especially when you're starting out and getting it to be an actual success. Nobody's business is successful on day one. It just doesn't happen. So, running a successful business, starting a successful business takes a lot of time and energy and effort. The concept of business is easy. The actual mechanics behind it and the actual running of the business is where it's difficult. And I think it is actually important to reward yourself for that when you hit certain milestones. And they're completely up to you what those milestones are. But yeah, make them realistic, make them something that's not going to be something you can knock over in a week, but it's going to be, it will stretch you, but it is achievable. Like, you don't want to set your first target of, and again, this depends on the industry and what you're selling, but you don't typically want to set your first target at $100,000 a month. It's not realistic when you're starting a business. Start it small and work it up patiently, but make sure you reward yourself and appreciate yourself for the effort that you've put in and the time that you've put in to get it to that stage. So I'd love to hear the thoughts on what people are doing in this space, if you're as shit at this as what I am, or what you're doing yourselves to reward yourselves and make sure that you're keeping yourself motivated or getting that checkout time to relax. So feel free to drop a comment or hit me up, and I would love to have that discussion. Enjoy your day and speak to you again soon. Cheers.